Earlier this afternoon, Porsche confirmed what we have all been waiting to hear, that the new GT3 will be revealed this Friday, October 18th. And I have been especially waiting for this news, not just because the GT3 is my favorite car, but also because about a month ago, I published a video saying that the GT3 will be revealed on the 18th, and I have not heard any other news about it since then. So I was a little worried that I put that video out there and I was going to be completely wrong. But now we know it's official and I cannot wait to see the new machine. In this teaser image released by Porsche, we see a sharp and clear silhouette of the new GT3 in front of a backdrop of smoke. At first glance, it doesn't look all that different from the 992.1 GT3, but there's actually several important aerodynamic differences. So let's pull up a profile shot of the last GT3 and see what new items we can find. We'll also crank up the brightness and contrast of the teaser image and try to expose a few more details. Alright, with these two images juxtaposed, we can make out a handful of subtle distinctions between the two. Up front, the .2 car has a much larger and more aggressive splitter. We can see that the bottom is angled upwards and that the rear edges are much lower. And we know from previous photos that it's much more complex and has been designed to channel air in different directions around and under the car. We can also see a minor redesign in the molding around the radiator opening. This has been done to help channel air into the radiator and brake ducts. The .2 car has a blocky object at the most forward point of the front fascia, and this is most likely for mounting a license plate, which is strange to see since almost nobody puts front plates on their GT3, and it kind of ruins the sexiness of the teaser image. Underneath the car, we can see much larger and more pronounced air veins mounted to the underbody behind the front wheels. And in front of the rear wheels, we can see similar ground effects. And while Porsche has been putting these on the front of the GT3 for years, having them at the rear is a first. At the back of the car, we can see newly redesigned end plates on the wing, which are much more similar to what is found on the 991.2 GT3 RS. The swan neck vertical supports were most likely carried over from the .1 car. Underneath the wing, we see a small object bulging out, and this is most likely part of the redesigned deck lid intake. And at the very back of the car, we can see a more simplified rear fascia that is housing a redesigned rear diffuser and exhaust system. A roll cage is also present in the image, and I have a feeling that Porsche is going to be making the standard GT3 a little bit more hardcore and the GT3 Touring a little more luxury focused. In addition to the teaser image, Porsche also provided some vague information about the new GT3. Firstly, Porsche says that the new car will be presented in two variants at the same time, and we can reasonably expect that the other variant will be the GT3 Touring, as Porsche has also been testing that car alongside of the standard GT3. Porsche also said the new GT3 will offer more individuality and innovative details, and I think we can take that to mean Porsche will be offering hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of interior options for the new GT3. Now, on a side note, this channel is going to be GT3 Central over the next couple months, and I will be producing as many videos as I can about this car, because in my opinion, it is one of the top 3 or 4 most important sports cars currently in production. I'm also going to be doing everything I can to get an allocation for the new GT3, which I'm not looking forward to because I tried to get an allocation for the last GT3 and it was a very frustrating and painful and insulting experience trying to work with all of the Porsche dealers who essentially told me that I am not special enough for them to sell the car to. But I'm going to be going through that whole process once again, and maybe this time around, I'll be able to get an allocation. Regardless, I am going to be documenting the whole process and sharing my progress and failures on this channel. So if you want to watch me struggle to do everything I possibly can to get a new GT3, click below to subscribe. While at first glance, the GT3 does not look drastically different, it is aerodynamically superior to the previous car and will offer less drag and increased downforce. This means that it is going to have a better 0 to 60 time, a higher top speed, and more importantly, faster lap times. And I'm sure everyone is eager to know if it will, at least for a short period, have the fastest Nürburgring lap time, as we've gotten used to that with previous versions of the GT3, but it will most likely not. Over the last few years, more and more manufacturers have joined the competition for the fastest Nürburgring lap time, and some of them have been pumping a lot more power and a lot more aerodynamic technology into their cars. And when it comes to the fastest lap time, the Porsche GT3 is simply too much of an old school car to take that top spot. As of now, the Mercedes-AMG 1 holds the record at 6 minutes and 29.9 seconds. For reference, the 992.1 GT3's lap time is 6 minutes and 55.34 seconds, which currently makes that the 12th fastest car around the Nürburgring. In order to take the top spot, the GT3 would need to cut nearly 26 seconds off of its lap time, and I think that would simply not be possible. But we can expect an increase of a few seconds and possibly see a lap time of under 6 minutes and 50 seconds. But that would still put it over 5 seconds behind the 992.1 GT3 RS. While I was in the process of writing this video, Porsche released a tiny bit more of information on the new GT3 on YouTube, mainly the time of the reveal event, which is 11:30 a.m. Central Time in the States and 18:30 CEST everywhere else. In the preview, Porsche just states that the GT3 is motorsport tested and ready to hit the streets, so not helpful or informative at all. And out of all the specs they could have published, they published the fuel consumption and emissions information. So basically, they revealed the only bit of information that no GT3 enthusiasts care about. Now, about 3 months back, I created an image of what I thought the new GT3 would look like for a YouTube video. So let's see what I got right and what I got wrong. That's actually pretty close. Not perfect, but pretty accurate. So from the teaser image, we know that the latest GT3 will be nearly identical to the last one at first glance, with the only obvious changes being the front and rear fascias. But the new car has been given a completely redesigned aerodynamics package that will no doubt give it better performance and better lap times. As far as the motor that will be powering it, all we can do is speculate. Some people are reporting that it will have the engine from the GT3 RS, and others are saying it will be the old engine reworked to produce an additional 15 horsepower. And there's also a chance it's going to be a brand new engine. But engines for the 911 have been an extremely touchy subject ever since Porsche introduced the 992.2 base Carrera and GTS. So I think a lot of people will be holding their breath until they find out exactly which motor Porsche put into the new GT3. But one thing we do know is that it will be naturally aspirated, and I'm fairly confident that it will be attached to an optional manual transmission. If you're new to my channel, I've published a couple important videos about the upcoming GT3, one detailing the specs of the new car, and another talking about how it will affect the values of the current GT3. So if you haven't seen those yet, give them a click. Thanks for watching, and for more Porsche content that you cannot find anywhere else, click here to subscribe.